Today on CityCast Portland, we're continuing our neighborhood guide series where we talk with Portlanders about the good, bad, and ugly of where they live. And this time, we're talking about Northeast Portland's Woodlawn neighborhood with Leah Benson. You might have heard Leah on the show before. She's the project manager of the committee implementing Portland's ranked choice voting system. She's also the former owner of the dearly missed Gladys Bikes on Alberta Street. She's going to be sharing why she thinks Woodlawn is a small town within a city that deserves its own historian and unofficial mayor. It's Thursday, September 26th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. So before we get into specific spots to check out, do you want to just name the boundaries of Woodlawn? Like, what neighborhood are we talking about?
Yeah, so it's Columbia to the north, Ainsworth to the south, MLK to the west, and 22nd to the east. Just nice straight lines.
Mm-hmm. Woodlawn, to me, was always a little confusing because of the layout. I think a lot of people don't realize that the layout is a little diagonal. So that I always found, whenever I'm like, am I still in Woodlawn? I don't know. But aside from that, give me your best Woodlawn pitch. Like, what do you love about living there?
Well, I will say one of the things I love is those what I'll call like quirky and endearing and perfect diagonal streets that make people get lost. I think it makes it interesting. It's kind of like Ladd's or Laurelhurst, but just like more chill, that the streets just aren't on the regular grid. And I think that's cool. Mm-hmm. I love that it feels like a small town in the middle of the city. I grew up in an extremely tiny town of less than 500 people. I always thought I wanted to move to a city. As soon as I got here, I'm like, how do I move to the closest thing to a tiny place where I can know every single one of my neighbors? Woodlawn is that. It's got a cute little town center. It's got a park. It's got numerous places where you can meet up with neighbors, and it makes sense that it feels like a small town because it was its own little community, rural farming village before it was then, it was then brought into the city of Albina, which was then brought into the city of Portland, but it existed as one of the last standing, I don't know if it was town or village, in Northeast before being brought in. So it definitely has its own character.
That's so funny because so many neighborhoods that we've done guides for, people have given us this piece of history. Like Coley was the same. Mm-hmm. We haven't done St. John's. We're definitely we're drum rolling to that one, let me tell you. But St. John's is the same way. It was its own little city. People still think it's its own little city. So I'm sure it just looks so different then. But in my head, it's so integral to North Portland. And because of Columbia, I can't even imagine the ruralness of it, Try saying ruralness.
Rural juror.
The rural juror of it all. Yeah. Anything else that you're into? Like anything else that you'd like to pitch about your neighborhood?
Oh, I could go on forever about Woodlawn, and I will.
That's why you're here.
So the mayor of Northeast Portland lives in Woodlawn, also known as Paul Knowles, who is well known throughout Portland, but perhaps best known as the owner of the former Cotton Club, which was a nightclub that existed in Albina that was like a pretty hot spot for jazz and soul in the area. He and his wife, Geneva, have lived proudly in Woodlawn, I think since the 1960s. I say proudly because there's actually a plaque in front of their house as you walk by that says, This is where the mayor of Northeast Portland lives, which I love. And if Woodlawn is good enough for him, it is good enough for me.
Nice.
Yeah. Other things I love about it are it's got incredible fruit.
Because it used to be a farm area.
I think so. Oh. Yeah, everyone seems to have raspberries in their front yard that they have signs on that are like, please eat, and fig trees and plums and such. And as someone who's not really good at gardening, I love that.
Yeah. Nice.
Also, I know it's not unique to Woodlawn. It's a lot of Northeast, but since we're so close to the Nabisco factory, it smells like brownies and cookies every night.
Okay, that's a selling point right there.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, now that we've talked a bit about the positives, what are a few of your personal gripes?
I think it's basically perfect, but I'm going to give you some funny gripes with it. My favorite being the train horn is pretty loud at night.
Okay.
We're pretty close to the track.
Too loud.
Which, like, it's incredible because there is neighborhood lore attached to this. When I moved into the neighborhood, I made the mistake of joining next door, which, like...
Yeah, that is a mistake people need to stop making, for sure.
It is a mistake, but I'm glad I did for one reason, which is people complain about the train horn constantly on Nextdoor, which is adorable and ridiculous. But I learned from Nextdoor that the neighborhood lore is that someone that is a train conductor used to be in love with someone that lived in Portland, and their heart was broken by a Woodlawn resident. And so every time they come through Woodlawn in the middle of the night, they like, I was going to say bang on, but I'm like pull, push, whatever it is, however you make a train horn go. They make it really loud in the middle of the night just to annoy this person that broke their heart.
Still?
Yeah. I mean, it's a deep cut.
Wow. I want this to be true because
Yeah.
it's so petty, but also love, you know?
It's so petty. I won't tell you that it's because there's an intersection.
Yeah, no, of course not. It's not because you guys are right at a railroad intersection. It's because somebody spurned somebody.
Somebody got their feelings hurt. Oh.
Yeah. Any other complaints about your neighborhood?
One that I would say, again, not unique to Woodlawn, but I think something worth recognizing still is that it is one of the neighborhoods that's been rapidly gentrifying since 2000 and becoming less affordable and less racially diverse. I say that as someone who is contributing to that as like middle-aged, middle-class white woman who's moved into the neighborhood. And even though that's perhaps an uncomfortable truth, it's reality still that I'm part of what's changing it. So that's something that's hard to see, I think, change. And neighbors are trying to figure out how do we continue to retain the character of what this like small little town has been as it grows and changes. And then my final gripe, another petty one, is Woodlawn Park, incredible, has no off-leash dog area, but you wouldn't know it. I love dogs. I spend at least 78% of my time trying to convince my partner to get a dog. And yet I will complain about the amount of dog poop that people don't pick up from the non-off-leash area. Like, they let the dogs run in the elementary school play yard.
No.
And so, like, the principal of Woodlawn Elementary has, like, sent home notes with kids about, you know, needing to clean poop off of their shoes and stuff. So I will say, I love dogs, but people, please, don't get the kids' shoes filled with dog poop.
That's so gross. There's no signs like, hey, pick up, you know.
Oh, there are signs everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
But do people know? You're like, oh, yeah, people know.
People know.
Oh, that's so annoying. Oh, I don't like that one bit.
No, me neither.
Oh, I would totally be the one out there being like, do you need a bag? That's my move, by the way. My passive-aggressive move is like, oh, I noticed you didn't have a bag. Did you want one? I have extra.
That is my partner. We live on the park, and like if he sees someone's dog pooping and the owner is not like catching it, he will run out there and be like, "Excuse me."
I love him already. He's a hero. Okay.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's perfect.
Because if anyone gets annoyed that someone did that, I'm sorry, you're the problem. You know what I mean? Like, oh, man, chill out, man. My dog's just trying to take shit. I don't care. Like, no, you're the problem, sir, ma'am. So where would you take someone new to the area?
Okay, so my top 3.
Okay.
A newer place first. Mutantis Cult Brewery, it's called. It's an all gluten-free brewery that's queer-owned and just super kooky. I eat gluten, but I love to have something in my back pocket for folks that have like some restrictions or different preferences. It's adorable. It's like you wouldn't know about it unless someone has pointed it out to you. It's kind of tucked behind another restaurant. And there's a food cart that's frequently in the parking lot there called Honey Butter Country Fair that also has gluten-free food like corn dogs and stuff. It's incredible. And it feels like this really wonderful secret, and I would definitely take folks there.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I've been told by many doctors that I shouldn't be eating gluten. I don't listen to them. Don't. I have so many rashes. But I definitely want to check that out. Like,
Claudia, be rash-free. Go to Mutantis Cult Brewery. This is my commercial.
Okay, I might. Any other places?
Other places. Woodlawn Coffee and Pastry is the place that I think convinced me to move to the neighborhood. before I lived in Woodlawn, I loved to go sit in this coffee shop with a book and just spend a bunch of time there. The coffee's good. They have really excellent baked goods, but the vibes are just wonderful, especially within the past few years. They have an incredible staff that appears to be mostly Gen Z. And I love it because they are playing like quote unquote oldies, also known as the songs from my youth. They put on one time a John Mayer album and we're like, oh, my mom used to love this. And I'm like, I feel so old. And yet this is great and wonderful. And then finally, there's this Italian restaurant, Campagna, which is just a great old school red sauce place. Great pasta, great people. The staff there is like uber welcoming and friendly. It opened up several years ago as a different restaurant, Grand Army Tavern. That was cute back then, but it just didn't quite land. And over the pandemic, the owners just decided to kind of pivot and went to this Italian restaurant model, and it just slaps. It's so good, and the people are so kind. So I would take people there.
Yeah, I've another place that I've been wanting to check out because I hear they have an amazing happy hour. Brooke, who used to be the editor for Eater, is a big Campana. Is that, am I saying that right?
I think so.
Campana?
I think so.
Campana?
I don't speak Italian.
I don't speak fake Italian. All right, well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, the most popular neighborhood hangout with the okayest pizza in town. October is dining month in Vancouver, Washington, and they're calling it Dine the Couve. And participating restaurants are offering a $33 special menu featuring 3 items. Now, these can range from the more traditional offerings like an appetizer, entree, and dessert, to 3 specially made plates, or my favorite so far, 2 glasses of wine and a charcuterie board. For $33 in this economy, I'll take it. You can download the free mobile-friendly pass starting September 26th, and that's where you can find the list of participating restaurants, their special Dine the Couve menus, addresses, and all that. Plus, if you use the pass to make 5 check-ins at participating locations throughout the month of October, you'll be eligible for a grand prize drawing. You can find the link to download the pass and all other information at dinethecouve.com. We're like the locals hanging out. Like, we're just like, this is, these are the spots that even no matter what, you're going to see me in.
I mean, realistically, we're all hanging out in the exact same spots as people that I'm taking out. But since I have an opportunity to talk about more places in Woodlawn I love, okay, I will. So Woodlawn Park is incredible. One of the most beautiful parks in the city, in my opinion. There are like 2 distinct parts to it that are separated by a bridge. The southern half has a ton of trees and picnic tables and a really incredible playground. So you see all the families from the neighborhood coming out, tons of basketball hoops that seem to be pretty well used by folks in the community. On the other side of the bridge is just kind of an open expanse with a baseball field that's just filled with picnic blankets in the summer and right by a community garden. It just is like the living room of the neighborhood. And I love it.
Well, that's so nice.
Yeah, it's also great for birding if you're into that sort of thing, which I am.
Any other places?
Yeah, so the ultimate local hangout is Good Neighbor Pizza. It is...
You were going to say that.
Just like its name. People in the neighborhood just hang out at Good Neighbor Pizza. I did not understand that place before moving there.
Can you explain it to someone who also doesn't understand? Okay, because I want to explain what Leah means is that, oh God, and Leah's not saying this. Claudia Meza, am saying this. Their pizza is not what I would say.
Good?
Yeah. It's pizza. It's solid. But that was the thing, is anyone that I knew that lived there was just like, oh, we're going to go to Great Neighbor. And I'm like, but I would literally pay, let's go to Firehouse, P's and Q's. But it's like, no, we're going to go to Good Neighbor. Explain to me why.
Okay, one thing I will say is they got a new pizza cook, or they reformulated their recipe within the past 6 months, and it's better.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a pizza snob, so I won't say it's the best, but it's good. It is a place where, I'll be like weeknight, I just need a cheese pizza that I'm going to sit and eat alone, like, I will go there. But it's just completely without pretense. You're going to run into 5 people you know there. You can sit there for however long you want and just chill, play a game with some friends. It's like the equivalent of a dive bar, but just like a family pizzeria type place. It's just chill.
Anytime I've gone there, the service, everyone has been absolutely lovely. They have beer on tap. Like, it's chill. I remember they used to have like dollar slices or something. And that's when my friend who lived in that neighborhood would always go. And so it just, but it was like almost like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So imagine the level of pizza that I'm describing from then.
Yeah.
And then like a day old because it's $1. So yeah, I had a lot of confusion as to what we were doing. But
Totally. You were basically eating like cheese on saltines.
like I would get upset, you know? I'm
Same.
like, why? Okay. So where else do locals hang out?
Okay, the counterpoint to Good Neighbor Pizza is High Watermark, which is just on the border of Woodlawn on MLK, which is just like a wonderful, gritty punk metal bar. There's going to be live music pretty much every night. The beer is cheap. The food is pretty good, actually. They got a great vegan banh mi. It's just a nice place to like grab a drink. And if you want to hear something loud and thrashy, they're going to come through for you.
Nice. Is there anything else you want to mention about Woodlawn that we haven't touched?
Yeah. One thing I'm super excited about is there's a lot of new like condos and mid-range homes being built in the area.
Okay.
Yeah, which I just continue to see popping up, which I love. I know some people have feelings about them, to put it lightly, that relate to like parking or like them not looking a certain way, but I think it's awesome. Like just down the block from me, a new structure went up that has 8 condos in it, and it's where a single house used to be that was like really dilapidated and not super livable anymore. And I love that it got turned into like 8 homes for folks who could potentially purchase it at a low rate. I think that's great. And I just don't tend to feel as much of like a NIMBY vibe in Woodlawn. You know, people are like, yeah, the more the merrier. Come live with us. Other things I love is there's a place called Deacon Street Theater that is threatening to open any day. So
What is that? Will you tell me? Like, I've never heard of it.
Let me tell you. I
Okay.
am so excited. Okay, so Deacon Street Theater is on Deacon in between Breakside Brewery and Woodlawn Coffee and Pastry. People who have been to Woodlawn have probably walked by it like constantly and never noticed it before because it has always been this dilapidated building. But what it is it's an old Nickelodeon theater, so like a silent movie theater that has been there since the 1920s, I think. Unfortunately, it didn't like make it to like the talkie era and closed down once silent movies weren't a thing, and it's just been derelict.
What?
But
There's just been an empty theater there forever?
it's just been empty.
Holy what?
So like 10 years ago, this couple purchased it and have been like meticulously rehabbing it. And as I understand it, one person in the couple is a dancer and connected to that scene in Portland. And so they've been turning it into a like auditorium style theater where they plan to have dance and theater and spoken word performances. They actually had one of the time-based arts performances there last week, I think.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay.
It's so cool. I'm unbelievably excited about it. The neighborhood is just like, you know, on the edge of our seats waiting to be able to support it as soon as we can. And it seems to be getting closer and closer and closer to a real launch.
Do you think they'll actually show movies and stuff?
You know, I don't know. Anytime I like am constantly looking at their Instagram and Facebook for any sign of life, and people post that question, and occasionally the owner will get back and say, I don't know, we'll see.
That doesn't sound like a yes.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like a no.
I know. I mean, I'm not saying that live performance theater isn't going to sustain, you know, a space, but I'm just saying for the vibe of the neighborhood, movies are fun, you know?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you.
I don't live in Woodlawn. These are just words, but anything else?
Yeah, I got some more words for
Oh, yeah,
you.
you got more words for me about
I
Woodlawn?
got more words for you. Yeah, my final thing is just we have our own neighborhood historian, Angela Helbe.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Angela, if I'm pronouncing your last name incorrectly, who I've met through neighborhood association meetings, and she's just out and about around town. She's lived in the neighborhood for decades and has kind of taken it upon herself to learn everything about it and share.
I love that.
She actually wrote a little book on Woodlawn, and I believe you can still pick it up at P's and Q's Market. if folks want to learn even more. I just love that someone is that excited about the neighborhood.
That is so cool. I'm looking at this book, $24.99, paperback.
Worth it.
Sidetracked. Anyhow, well, that's great. I mean, do you go to P's and Q's? I remember it being so cute in there.
P's and Q's is adorable. I do go there quite frequently. I live a couple of blocks away. I go there sometimes for meals, but more frequently they have like staple groceries. Mm-hmm. And if you, like me, are the type of adult who considers staple groceries to be like fizzy water and chips, it's a great place to shop. And I go there for that all the time.
That's something that I feel like my neighborhood is missing, is we're missing like a P's and Q's market where you can just be like, I don't want to go all the way down to Safeway or Fred Meyer or whatever for, this or that. I just want to get eggs.
It's great.
Yeah, I think their pizza's pretty good. Like,
P's and Q's has pizza?
Maybe they do it outside sometimes.
This is a shocking revelation.
Dude, check it out. Let me tell you about your neighborhood, Leah.
I live a block and a half from P's and Q's. I feel so silly.
Yeah, it's during the summer they have like an outdoor pizza fire oven, and it's like pretty good. Okay. Well, Leah, thank you so much for hanging out with me and telling me a little bit more about your neighborhood. I've learned about so many cool new places, and I'm 100% want to go check out, is it Mutantes Cult Brewery? Mm-hmm. And I've been wanting to get honey butter at County Fair in my...
belly?
Yeah, I was going to say food cart rotation, but sure, belly. Well, thank you so much, Leah. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Have a good one.
And now for some events happening this week. Every Thursday on the show, we like to bring you a few recommendations to help you plan your weekend. And here's what we got. This Friday is the start of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo at the Oregon Convention Center. It's going through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. People are coming from all over to play in old school game tournaments and more. Also starting this Friday is the Oregon Zoo's Zootoberfest, which goes through Saturday. Tickets include a souvenir mug and 10 drink samples. And this Saturday, the Jupiter Hotel is celebrating its 20th anniversary by throwing a block party. It's free in all ages, and from 1 to 6:30 p.m. there will be food, music, flash tattoos, and a BIPOC marketplace. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. For even more local events and news, sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Portland, or check out our website, portland.citycast.fm. We'll throw a link in the show notes. Well, that's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.